everyone, and welcome to Walford Weekly, your weekly EastEnders podcast. This week we'll be discussing the episodes broadcast in the UK on the BBC from Monday the 24th of April to Friday the 28th of April. My name is Alex, and I am joined by Robert. Hello, Rob.
Hello, Alexander. How are you?
I'm very well. Well, we're doing that again, aren't we? This is when we first started. We used to use our full names. I thought it was very formal
Robert.
of us. Yes, Robert.
Yeah.
It's
All
us
right,
being,
Al.
I think it was us just being polite to one another. Now,
Yes.
all politeness is thrown out the window.
Now you should hear what we say to each other off mic.
Yeah. The conversations we have. You've had a very exciting week this week, haven't you? Thanks to a new lady in your life.
Oh, she's beautiful. She's Suki.
Mm-hmm.
She's sexy. She's silky. She's Suki. I've got a new laptop, basically, ladies and gentlemen. For years, since I was at uni, about 1800 years ago, I have wanted an Apple Mac, because my mates had one and I couldn't afford one, because, we was poor. And I finally saved up enough money to get myself a top-of-the-range one. She's beautiful. Everything about her, I just love. I'm stroking her now. She's so silky and velvety, and I love it. I'm very happy this week.
Oh, she's delightful. She's gold, isn't she? As well?
She is gold, and she believes in herself.
And I believe in you, Rob. But
apart from that, any good for you? Any news from you? All good week?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a standard week. Have I mentioned the cat has diabetes?
No, you didn't. No.
Oh, okay.
Charlie's got diabetes.
Yeah, he has a slightly higher sugar level than what most cats should have. I'm being blamed for it because occasionally I do feed him.
Feed him biscuits.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. You've said this to me before.
That's
You're
what I
as
thought.
entertainers with their dogs.
Yeah, and he begs and he gives you the big eyes and then he meows and then he falls on his stomach and then he looks at you. And you can't resist. You can't resist giving him it's a tiny little crumb. Like it's barely a grain of salt size piece of biscuit, but apparently that's enough to give a cat diabetes. Yeah, so
you've given your cat diabetes from overfeeding him on custard creams. That's what you've done.
No, well,
Ashamed of yourself.
It's a hobnob. It's a hobnob.
Oh, is it? Well, what a surprise.
He's partial to a hobnob, as we all are. And
aren't we all?
But it's a shame because in the evening now, where it's become a good practice for him to kind of beg for this hobnob, I have to resist, and it's really tough. But it ruins my evening cup of tea. So now, Charlie's disease has basically ruined my life. This week, we've had many stories yet again. We've had the fallout of last week, kind of forgotten, not really mentioned. Yeah. It's happened,
which is fine with me. To be fair.
Yes, I know. I think at the end of last week, I think we all felt your deflation by the end of. The depression crept in, and you were just ready to just curl up in bed and just close the curtains and just forget that it ever happened.
But in contrast, I have to say, really enjoyed this week. So there you go. Oh. Maybe I'm throwing my meds down the sink with huge thuds, but I did really, really enjoy this week. So
there was no real aftermath for that for Isaac this week, I suppose.
None whatsoever.
None at all. Which leads us very nicely to the Karen and Bailey story, which we're going to start with, where Karen is still in money problems. Bailey's very aware of it. I mean, Karen's not really hiding it. She lives in a little 2-bedroom bed sit, doesn't she, essentially? Yeah. And yes. She can't really have quiet conversations with Mitch behind closed doors. Bailey will hear every single minute detail that's going on. And Bailey's also quite smart for her age. And she's kind of picked up on it.
Bailey... Yeah, and it doesn't really help that throughout the week, Bailey seems to do this weird thing where, Mitch will walk past the doorway and Bailey's not there. And then Mick will walk past the doorway and Bailey's just standing there at the end of a corridor, like something out of The Shining, just listening to the conversation. She's not noticed that. She did it a couple of times. So I was like, that's a bit creepy. But yes, essentially, Bailey is overly aware of how much money troubles the Taylors are having. Since, for the past 2 weeks. And this astrology camp, which I'll be honest has gone on for far longer than I thought it was going to. The astrology competition final thing finally happens this week. We don't see Bailey doing it because Bailey has decided to run away with Banjo the dog.
Well, yes, not even her dog.
It's kidnapped Banjo the dog.
Yeah, essentially. And not to Bernie's satisfaction either, because Bernie's first reaction was, she's taken the dog. What
will
Molly think?
Screw Bailey. Molly's going to be furious.
Molly's going to be fuming with me. Yeah, I mean, Bailey feels guilty that she's almost a burden on the family. To Karen's best efforts, she did her supermum routine where she pulled together a beans on toast ensemble with just like half a piece of bread and a half a tin of beans, and like was able to create like a bean mountain, a bean volcano of food.
Yeah.
And then Bernie comes in and is like, oh, is there one going? And Karen was like, oh yeah, no, I wasn't hungry. Fine.
That's fine, I'll starve.
Yeah, you have it then, Bernie. Where we know that Bernie is actually making good money in the job that she's doing. And I know she has offered...
Fair, she has offered it, hasn't she?
Yeah, she has offered it. But still, like, I couldn't help but think that Bernie knows that she's in money troubles. Perhaps Bernie could have just said,
or we'll just go
out and get something for myself, from...
all that, yeah. We'll just bring them the clunkies home or something.
Yeah.
But to be fair, though, we've reached, you know when a character's going through poverty, the beans come out of the cupboard. I think Denise had beans at one point when she was going through poverty. So we're one step away from watching Karen boiling pasta on the
I was going to say. Bernie has a plan to get her family out of financial troubles, and that is the surrogacy story that kind of kicked off last week with Rainie and Stuart. She asked Molly for advice, and Molly kind of told her not to do it, even though they used the old trope yet again of, I have a friend who needed help.
I've got this mate.
Yeah. So I'm presuming that
Molly doesn't believe a word of it.
Well, Molly is here to stay as well, so the Molly and Bernie relationship is now flourishing.
Well, until she finds out that she's allowed Banjo the dog to be kidnapped, in which case she is dumped.
So how do you think Molly will feel then, finding out... Sorry, there's nothing more I can say. How do you feel Molly will feel then, knowing that Bernie is actually now going ahead with the plan and going to carry Rainie and Stuart's child for them?
Well, I mean, I think it was quite stupid, really, of Bernie to just say, yeah, no, I've got this mate. It's not me, it's definitely not me, but I've got this mate who might be pregnant soon because of a surrogacy. And Molly's like, well, I think your mate is an idiot, so don't do that. And Bernie's like, right, okay. And she's going to go ahead with it anyway. So I can't imagine... Why would you? If you were in Molly's shoes... you started dating this girl, and all of a sudden she starts having to wear maternity jogging bottoms and all of that sort of thing because she's been a surrogate to somebody, despite asking you, do you reckon this is a good idea? And you've said no. Like, I don't think there's a huge amount of... that's screwing things up right from the start, isn't it, from Bernie's point of view? I understand, kind of, why she's doing it, but the thing I liked this week was when she spoke to Rainie and Stuart, and Rainie, showing sort of like a rare piece of wiseness from her part, was like, yeah, do you know what? I don't think this is a very good idea. I don't think you're going to want to do this all the way through, and we don't want our hearts broken again. And I thought, yes, Rainie, come on, that's really sensible, brilliant. This is putting the tin hat on it. Excellent. And then Bernie just kind of says, well, yeah, no, I do want to do it, and it's going to be fine, and I won't break your heart, promise. And Bernie's like, well, all right then. So it does look like it's still all going ahead. It's not going to go well, and she's not going to tell anybody. Is she going to keep it a secret from Karen?
I think the secret will come out quite quickly. Despite, the laws and how you're meant to go through with surrogacy, let's just kind of fudge that and think going forward.
They haven't consulted a single law at any point during any part of whenever surrogacy gets brought up with Stuart and Rainie. The law never ever comes into it. It's like they seek the most legal way to do it every single time.
I mean, they're obviously going to do it very privately. I don't think there's going to be a doctor involved in any way. They're not going to pull one out.
I don't know. I don't think it's going to last that long because it didn't last time. I don't think that they're going to stick with it for 9 months. To be honest, I just get the impression that it's going to be one of those sort of... Well, so I reckon as soon as Bailey's back and they start actually talking to each other about these money issues, because Karen and Mitch have kind of been trying to hide the issues from Bailey. Despite the fact that Karen does say this week, Bailey's got more brains than all of us put together, and it's totally true. So I reckon once Bailey's back, it will sort of die down because Bernie will say, well, do you know what I was going to do? And Karen will call her an idiot, and then that'll be over. I don't think it's going to last as long as to going into that far into the pregnancy if it does, but we'll see, I guess.
At one point, when Rainie was stood outside the Minute Mart watching Karen, I thought that Rainie's thought was, I'll ask Karen to do it for me, because she's obviously had children in the past, she can carry, and she's still young enough to have a child again. And I'm surprised that's not really where Rainie's kind of thought process was heading, because even though the Taylors are now in big money troubles at the moment, they're always constantly not really, they're only just keeping their head above water. That's been the Taylors from day dot since they've kind of joined the show. And I'm surprised that that's not been a thought in Rainie's mind, that maybe perhaps Karen could have, been a surrogate for me instead, if you're going down that kind of family route.
I just don't understand why Rainie and Stuart have never once thought of going through any sort of official channels with this. Like, there's people you can go to when you want surrogacy. Apart from, all these really unreliable people that I live on this square with, that I know each and every single one of them would probably be the worst possible choice in any given lineup. But hey, I suppose that's soap logic, really, isn't it?
I suppose.
Has there actually been money brought up at any point between them?
Not between.
It was like there was always the assumption that Tiff was going to get paid for it, but Bernie's sort of just been like assumed that she was going to get. I mean, what did she say? Like £10,000 or something?
It was 10,000 when it was Tiff being offered it.
Yeah, well, I'd be like, well, interest has gone up since then. I'm afraid. Pandemic's happened since you were last paying for one, so I'm afraid the price has gone up or something.
Wow, you're a harsh mistress, aren't you?
I would. I'd be charging at least 20.
Oh right, double this. Fair enough.
Yeah, too right.
Yeah, I mean, only time will tell. There's lots of avenues this can take. I mean, there's another one where perhaps Bernie has, does carry the child and then miscarries again. Then the pain is shared between both Bernie and Rainie. There's that story that could be taken into account too. There's lots of routes they can take with this.
I can see Karen getting attached to it though, attached to the kid though, because she has lost a daughter. So that would be the other avenue that it would go down.
And she got quite attached to Sharon and Keanu's kid, didn't she?
Albie.
Albie, yeah. She's constantly looking after Albie. In fact, I very rarely see Albie with anyone other than Karen on screen. So yeah. But next,
Sharon's got a gym empire to open. She hasn't got time to do kids.
Yes. The gym empire, which she still hasn't refurbished yet, but we're on good authority by Sharon that by next week it'll all be done. So next week
it will be as well, won't it? It'll be full up and running, decorated, all equipment installed, full of people pumping iron. That's what's going to happen.
It'll be filled up. So talking about Sharon's empire and her gym, we have the Carters, and there is a link here because Nancy has applied for a job and getting quite friendly with Zack. So there's Zack and Nancy who are becoming very friendly with one another.
Happening.
But the main story is that Nancy has been hiding around, also more secrets and lies within the square, where she's been kind of sneaking around, making phone calls to who knows who. And Tanwa, she's announced that she's divorcing Tanwa, they're breaking up.
Yep.
And a huge revelation this week that Nancy is basically organising being sterilised. Something that Ben would like me to mention had predicted and said on Twitter before the news came out on the show. So well done, Ben. Everyone at home can now give him a little applause. That's lovely. Yes, there you go. So
done, Ben.
So yeah, big news for Nancy then. She doesn't want kids. I mean, it was hinted last week, and this is where she was saying that whenever she was around kids, they always seem to hurt themselves somehow, doesn't she? Don't they?
Right, so that's it. I'm going to sterilise myself. It's a bit of an extreme reaction.
Yeah, but so what? I wonder what brought it on though. What's caused her? And is this the reason why there's a rift or the divorce now happening between her and Tanwa?
Between her and Tanwa, yeah, possibly. I mean, it's if Tanwa's constantly saying, "I want kids, I want kids, I want kids," and Nancy's like, "I hate children," so no, absolutely not. It does seem a bit of an extreme reaction. You could just not have kids, but then I suppose accidental pregnancies are rife in Albert Square. So maybe I'm going back to Walford. I better get sterilised because I'll have sex with one person, and I'll be pregnant with octuplets or something like that. So
to be fair though, even if she was sterilised, they'd probably still write her in getting pregnant the following month.
Oh well, that's the thing. Yeah, and this is the thing. We did this with Rainie when she had her illness, and we made sure that we made the writers very aware. Now you've done this, she can't now have children. That's it.
Yeah, if you're doing this, writers, that's it. That's the end.
You can't then make Nancy pregnant. What are they actually trying to say with this story? So what, Nancy is taking control. She is saying, right, no, I don't want children, and I'm going to go the full hog. Is she going to go through with it? Is Linda going to persuade her otherwise? Because Linda looks absolutely horrified by the idea. By this revelation on Thursday that we've got absolutely no reaction to on Friday whatsoever. What do you think? Is she going to go ahead with it?
Well, I think, as you say, it's just Nancy taking control of her life. I don't think she's ever felt like she's had full control, especially with her seizures and her fits. And that's true. Where she's found that was CBD oil. Where she's found that CBD oil, and she's kind of been able to kind of calm it down. She's been the healthiest she's felt, the healthiest she's been for years. And I think it's just another way of her just kind of just wanting to have the control of her life that she's always aimed for and wanted, and this is her way. And in a way I do understand where, again, I don't know the full science behind it, but perhaps it's quite dangerous for someone who has seizures to get pregnant. During pregnancy it could be quite dangerous for her, could be dangerous for the baby as well. And I know we joke and said where she feels like she always whenever she takes care of a child, she always seems to hurt it some way. Unintentionally, like falls off their high chair, or gets hit by a swing, or whatever. Maybe she feels like she doesn't want to do that if there's a child she's carrying a child and then looking after a child. What if she's looking after the child on her own and she has a fit? That kid is then left to its own devices. Yeah, what can she do? So I completely understand her decision, and I also can see Linda, who's very much, she's very much a mother. She's always wanted to be a mother, and so she can't really understand why one of her own children wouldn't want to be a mother either. And so you can see it from Linda's point of view too.
Well, Linda does what she normally does when any of her kids show any remote sign of doing anything out of the ordinary. She goes slightly neurotic with it because she finds the CBD oil and is instantly convinced that Nancy's a drug addict. So there's that. I mean, CBD oil, apparently you can't get it for. Now, what's she saying? You can't get CBD oil
from that strength. For epilepsy. For that strength. Yeah, you can buy it legally in the UK, but for that strength,
New Zealand are like, yeah, man, have it. That's cool, man, have it.
How real is that CBD oil if she's buying it online or bringing it? Because I can't imagine she would have brought it over from New Zealand either, because you know what immigration's like. Well, Lucas knows what immigration's like. There's a guy there waving people through all the time, kind of nodding and waving people through. CBD oil waving from through. Yeah. So I can't imagine she bought it from from New Zealand. She bought it from New Zealand, so she must have bought it perhaps illegally online. But buying drugs online is a very dangerous route to take, and I'm surprised that that's another kind of story waiting to happen, isn't it? That she's got a bad batch, inverted commas, and so that causes her to perhaps have a really bad seizure off the back of
Uber fit.
An Uber fit, yeah.
It's the CBD oil. It's I don't know a huge amount about it, but it's an interesting sort of thing to talk about. How well it's, does it really help with epilepsy? I mean, I got the impression that she got it officially, as in she got it over the counter.
Well, I
thought she was saying,
too.
She seemed really chill about it.
But it's probably because it's cannabis oil, isn't it? So she's probably just don't worry about it, man.
Yeah. When she's just sat there munching on pizza.
Yeah, she put on 10 pounds since she started on that CBD. I thought it might have been a legal thing, but then when she took it out of the Nancy's coat pocket, the bottle was giant, wasn't it? It's like huge. How she hid that.
It was like a 3 litre of Diet Coke. It was huge.
Yeah. And from the sounds of it, it was like military grade oil.
I know, because Linda lifted up her jacket and almost got weighed down by it. She was like, "What on earth is in your pocket?" And then pulls out this bottle.
It was like when Mary Poppins takes out the hat stand from her bag. It was like that CBD oil was literally coming out of that pocket. In that
bit of CBD oil makes the sugar bone go down.
Yeah, she probably sees birds singing to her all day long. Yeah, no, I mean, when she said it was a high strength oil, then that's when I thought, no, she can't have got it through a legal means, as in from a script from a GP, presumably. But
maybe it doesn't have THC in it, though, isn't it?
I don't know.
I thought it said on the box that no THC or something. I'm not sure.
But to be honest, I didn't look at the oil too closely. But again, it was for the benefit of the viewer, the label literally was labelled in big capital block letters: CBD oil. So make no mistake.
I'm really surprised we didn't have a pipe clanging in the background when Linda pulled it out of the pocket, staring at it in horror.
And then a close up on her face.
My daughter has CBD oil. Boom!
It's the end of the world. Ollie in the background falls to the floor. Boom! Mick walks in with a cup of tea. Boom!
Boom!
Oh dear. Yeah,
so we'll see where this goes.
Yeah, Nancy's got a job as well, thanks to Zack, who helped her along, because Sharon was having none of it. It was like, oh, you've come here for a job, have you? Hard luck, lady. And so the relationship between Zack and Nancy is blossoming. I think there might be
Is it
love on the
just?
cards.
I quite like. I think Zack. I think they'd be quite an interesting couple because Nancy's kind of Nancy is one of these girls that's sort of, she's quite tomboyish, isn't she? And she's got attitude and all of that sort of thing. So it might be interesting to see her with Zack. I did like the fact that after all the abuse that Nancy gave to Sharon, calling her hair a wig and all of this sort of thing, first thing she does when she realises that she needs a job is go to Sharon. I need a job, by the way. Is that all right? Cheers. But Sharon rightly, I thought, was like, no, get out of my gym. And then instantly Zach's kind of like, well, Nancy's fit, so can you give her a job?
Yeah.
And Sharon's like, well, all right then. But I think hopefully this will open the door to Sharon either just sniping at Nancy all day long, which I'm quite happy to hear, or start to mend the rift between Sharon and the Carters, because I don't want their relationship to be over, because her and Linda were a nice little friendship, so I'm hoping that there'll be a time when her and Linda can become friends again, so hopefully Nancy working there might be able to build bridges.
It still feels to me like it just came out of nowhere, this argument between the Carters and Sharon.
To be fair, the gym came out of nowhere.
Yeah, true. And where is Peter? They're meant to be fixing up this brand new gym.
Who cares?
I know, but again, sharking any responsibility, Peter Beale.
Yeah,
he's
Peter Beale.
Yeah, he's. Because he's meant to be the personal trainer. I mean, it cracks me up that Sharon didn't.
So what's Zach's role in this now then? Zach's just like moving boxes around and all of that sort of thing, and Zach's saying to Sharon, like, yeah, you should hire her. Yeah, no, hire her. Yeah. She'll be good, I promise. So what is Zach's role in all of it? He's like assistant manager or something?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe he sits at the front desk with his like trainers on the top of it and like laying back on the chair and is like swiping the come in, just tells people to swipe and go.
Yeah. That's so mad Sharon owns a gym. What the hell? Why does Sharon own a gym of all things?
I just want to see Sharon in more active wear. That's all I want now.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
I like the fact that Sharon has gone in a completely new direction. It's nice to see. New Sharon. This is Sharon 2021, baby.
Modern Sharon.
New things, modern Sharon, but new things on the horizon. So go on then, I'll take it.
I mean, we should have, again, the foreshadowing was there when she was running after that gang when they were upsetting Dennis.
She knows running.
Trainers.
She knows running.
Oh, yeah, those white trainers.
So whenever the trainers are out, even before any physical activity has happened, like sometimes when you can tell the scene's about to get physical, because the camera's like, you can tell the camera is handheld, so they're going to start doing like fast camera angles in a minute. It's exactly the same thing when Sharon's wearing trainers. You can see, Sharon's got her trainers on, she's going to start running in about 5 minutes, and it always happens, so there you go. Beret on, Sharon's going to be crying soon, like a chameleon with her clothes.
The funeral beret, yeah.
Beret of grief.
Before we go to a game, let's have a quick chat about Honey, Billy and Janet's star turn. She's now a model, our Janet. But she's not getting paid as much as all the other models, much to a disgruntled Honey, who's kind of bullied Billy into picking up and making a point of it with his new girlfriend, Estelle, yeah.
I absolutely love the fact that she's an agent and she's called Estelle. It's like in Friends, isn't it?
I know.
Janet, it's Estelle. I got you an audition. I've got to be honest here, because I don't believe that Estelle was doing anything that wrong, to be honest. Maybe I read the story wrong, and she's saying, well, it's to do with experience, and she was essentially saying that the more jobs Janet gets, the more money she'll get, which makes perfect sense to me. And it's not up to the agent herself to pay the clients. She takes a cut of what the clients earn as to how she earns her money, but it's not up to her to pay the clients out of her own money, which seems to be what Billy was annoyed about when she was ordering champagne and everything. And
Billy, kind of insinuated that, you can afford to buy me champagne, so surely you can afford to give my daughter more money to model. But as you say, it's not for her to choose.
Not how it works.
No.
And Honey should know this, because she used to be a model.
Well, and Will was a model. So this isn't their first toe in the water of modelling.
Doesn't make any sense at all.
No, absolutely not. And again, Honey seemed really surprised when some of the model mums were there talking to each other, going, oh yeah, my daughter makes this much. And Honey was like, oh, really? Again, surely that was something she would have... She went travelling with Will for his modelling. So this isn't something that this is alien to Honey. This is something she should know inside out, upside down. I don't think modelling has changed in the last 10 years.
And they they essentially kept implying that Janet was being underpaid because of her disability, which wasn't what was happening whatsoever.
Well, that's just it. I don't think enough that we were able to kind of distinguish whether it really was that they were paying because of her disability or was because of her naivety to the role, and that she was only just starting out as a model. So, and the way Estelle was kind of being portrayed, she didn't kind of indicate it either way. In fact, the way that it was being acted, I think Estelle was being entirely genuine about the whole situation. And that it was...
And to be fair, rule number 2 of EastEnders is that if Billy Mitchell's annoyed about something, he's probably wrong. He had a massive go at Estelle in the club because Honey was there.
Oh,
and
exactly.
Then sent the champagne that Estelle had ordered to Honey and Jay, which just seemed to me to be a typical sort of... He wasn't doing that for anybody else other than to look good to Honey, I didn't think.
And which is exactly my point of, and here we go again, swings and roundabouts. We're going back to that old story where Honey and Billy are getting upset because one's dating another person and they're...
I really thought Honey was over this.
Well, so did I, because this is how it really started, let's be honest. We're going to probably find out that the crux of the matter is that the reason Honey got so upset wasn't because of her daughter not getting paid as much, but it was because Billy was starting... Yeah, exactly. So Janet, who cares about her? All really Honey cared about, I'm sorry, was the fact that she saw that Billy was moving on with Estelle.
Yeah,
and she didn't like it.
Annoyed about it.
Yeah.
No. So all of this thing with Jay, who literally... Jay's role this week was literally just to sit there and just sort of watch everything going on.
Yeah, all he did was shrug, kind of smile every now and then, roll his eyes. Yeah, Jay said nothing.
Call Billy an idiot and walk off again, which, to be fair...
Yes, it's true. But, yeah, so we're basically playing out the same story again. Was this purposeful? Was this deliberately meant to be like that? Or was it meant to be that the story was that Janet... was being discriminated against, because we weren't. I felt like I was
didn't feel that way at all.
No, I felt I was in the shadows the whole time. Like I didn't really know what we were meant to be rooting for, who we're meant to be rooting for this whole time. Felt a bit weird. Felt a bit strange.
I liked Estelle. I want her back. I liked Estelle a lot.
Oh, I loved Estelle, and I liked her having a relationship with Billy. I thought they got on quite nicely. I thought it was quite a nice relationship.
It was a slightly odd couple. But,
do you reckon?
It's a bit of an odd couple, but I think
it's like Lady and the Tramp. I felt like it felt like
essentially, yeah. No, exactly. I was about to say, sort of diamond in the rough sort of thing. Maybe she was attracted to with Billy. A lot of rough and very little diamond, but there we go. The other thing that we got this week was Honey apparently finding her chutzpah and started sticking up for herself, because she went into the Suki mark and she said, "Well, I'd quite like my hours back, please." And Suki's like, "Well, no, because I've given them to my son." And first Honey's kind of like, "Oh, okay then, sorry to bother you," and then comes back later and goes, "Do you know what? No, legally I'm entitled to those hours, so you'll give me those hours." And I think it seemed to impress Suki. Either that or Honey's life is going to be absolute hell from here on in, but it seemed that Suki was quite impressed by it, didn't it?
I think she was. Although a huge mistake for Suki there, not putting Honey on a 0-hour contract. I'm shocked that that's not what Suki
First thing you do.
Absolutely. Well, it's the first thing Suki would have done.
Every single staff member.
Yeah,
right.
I am honestly taken aback that Suki had that contract written out, that she gave Honey minimum hours of presumably full time, so 37 and a half. I was like, wow, Suki.
And then just gave them to somebody else. And thought the Honey wouldn't say anything.
Honey won't do anything about it. But no, I think it was a good lesson that Suki was teaching Honey this week, that you really need to stand on your 2 feet. Yeah, I think it. That's
the only reason she did it. Otherwise, she would have gone on a 0 hours contract. But Suki, being the generous queen that she is, saw a woman who needed a lesson taught to her and thought, right, do you know what? This is how this is going to play out. And it all worked beautifully. So well done, Suki.
I just think that Suki's got a kinder heart than we all make her out to be. We're painting her in this horrible, character, doesn't care about anyone but herself. Yeah, I know. Well,
you might be.
I'm as guilty as anyone else for doing it. But in actual fact, all Suki wants to do...
woman.
Yeah, all she wants to do is teach the square lessons, valuable life lessons. She taught her son a valuable life lesson. Yeah. Soon Suki is going to come out and she's going to start singing songs. What's the story in Suki's shopping?
Suki Mori.
Yeah, only Suki knows. What's the story in Suki Mori? Where is she going to go?
Well,
and off she goes to the next house, the purple house.
Yeah.
And teaches everyone a new lesson.
There you go. So I can't wait to see what lesson Suki will teach next week.
She'd be a fantastic doing the bedtime stories on CBeebies.
Wouldn't she?
Wouldn't she just?
She would. What's the story in Suki Mori? Wouldn't you like to know?
Going to the Suki Mart, that's where we shall go.
That's Suki Mori.
Oh, I'm keeping that forever.
So, Alex, time for a game?
Sounds good to me.
Let's play Tenable. We're going to play a little game that's on. It's on like one of those other channels, not the BBC. So it might cause the slight issues.
The little known channel of ITV.
That little known sort of digital channel.
Sorry, as my mum and dad calls it, the third channel.
The third channel, Channel 3.
Yeah, Channel 3. Is that still a thing? Do the elderly still call it Channel 3?
You press 3, you still get it by pressing 3 on your remote, don't you? So it's Channel 3.
Well, it depends on what you're watching it through. If you're watching it on Sky, it's 103, isn't it?
103,
yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, fascinating stuff. Tell me the game, Rob.
We're so up on technology, it's outrage. Right, yeah, so basically, anyone who's not familiar with the rules of Tenable, very simple. All I'm going to do is ask Alex for 10 answers in a given subject. And if he gives me those 10 answers, then, in theory, he'd win £25,000. I don't think that my budget can quite stretch to that, with my new laptop and everything. So, if you get all 10, then you win my... I wouldn't say undying admiration, but, admiration, certainly. Alex, are you ready?
I'm excited, actually. I like this game, so it's good.
Alex, please join me to play Tenable. So, Alex, let's have a look at your top 10. Top 10 characters by order of appearances in 2021. So, I'm looking for... Let me just clarify this for you.
Okay.
I'm looking for the top 10 characters by order of the times that they have appeared in episodes in 2021. Nice and simple.
Right.
So, Alex, let's get your first answer on the board.
I think there's a few safe bets here, so let's start with them.
Yes.
So I'm starting with Ben Mitchell.
Is Ben Mitchell Tenable? Ben Mitchell is correct. Yes, well done. He is 1, 2, 3, 4. He's number 5.
Okay. Callum Highway.
Is Callum Highway Tenable? He is not, I'm afraid. He is not in the top 10.
What? Oh, I suppose he doesn't...
Not...
No, I suppose. Okay, that makes sense. Fine. I'll take that.
He's been at work, police and all that sort of thing. So within the rules of Tenable, you've just lost your life. So, you've got one... so if you give me another wrong answer, then frankly, into the void with you.
What? Already? Hang on, do I have a lifeline? Can I ask my team?
A lifeline? That's another show, but yeah, go on then.
Who is my team? Who shall I use?
I'll give you a clue to a character if you like.
Okay, that can be my lifeline then. I don't want to use it yet though, because I think I've got others that I can get before then. No.
Yeah,
okay, cool.
Absolutely.
Phil Mitchell.
Phil Mitchell. He is Tenable. Yes, he's number 6 on the list.
God, they're quite low. I'm surprised.
They are.
Oh, Sharon Watts / Bill / whatever she is married to that day
/ HRM Sharon.
Yes.
Sharon is on the list. She's number 3.
Oh, you had me worried then. There was a bit of a pause.
Yes.
I'm going to follow that up with Ian Beale.
Ian Beale is untenable, I'm afraid.
What?
No, he is not on the list.
Oh, okay. Can I carry on?
To be fair, yeah, you can carry on. Imagine that. No, that's it. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Goodbye. To be fair, he's been gone for quite a while this year, hasn't he, so far? So that might explain why he's not a...
Callum hasn't, and he wasn't tenable either.
No, he wasn't tenable.
Okay. Can I have one more guess? Not one more guess, but one more life. So I've got 3 lives.
Yeah, all right. You just make the rules up with this game as you go along. That's fine.
3 lives, 1 lifeline. Well, I'll tell you what. For the expense of my lifeline, can I buy a life?
Buy a life?
Yeah, so I'm using my lifeline to buy a life.
Okay.
So I don't have a lifeline now, but I do have another chance.
Okay, go on.
This is better than Tenable. ITV, get in touch.
Yeah, listen to us, ITV, Channel 3.
Channel 3. If you want a convoluted game show, come my way.
Come to us.
Okay, so right. Oh, I really need to think about this now. I'm going to say Gene Slater. Oh, am I?
Also untenable.
Okay, so I didn't say for definite. That wasn't my final answer.
No, you didn't. No,
so that's not mine.
I bet you're a nightmare at Christmas, aren't you? When you're over a board game, you're the sort that's just going to flip the board over, storm out.
I just make rules up and people just carry along. I'm really... Oh, Cat Slater. Oh, no, I bet she's not. No, I'm not saying Cat Slater. Kush Kasimi.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, that is my final answer.
No. Also untenable.
What? Oh, okay, fine. Okay, how many have I got? 3?
You've got 3 so far, yeah. And as many lives gone.
Yeah, but that's it, isn't it? That's the end of the game.
I'll take one more off you.
Okay, can I buy another lifeline? I'll give you actual cash
sure.
this time.
I owe you for a game that when it's my turn.
I'll back 10 quid to you.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. Okay, Whitney Dean.
Whitney is Tenable, yes.
Goodness for that.
She's number 9.
Really?
Yep, number 9.
Does it include extras?
No. What, like Tracy or something?
Yeah, I was going to say... Yeah, I was actually going to say Tracy.
All regular characters. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You've got 6 left.
Yeah, but I'm a bit scared of saying some now because I would have thought. I thought Ian.
Okay.
I'm frightened. Ian and Callum, I would have thought were shoo-in. I want to say.
One on here, I'm quite surprised by.
I suppose. Okay. Stacey Slater.
Untenable.
Oh, for goodness sake, Ruby Allen.
Yes, Ruby is number 7.
Martin Fowler.
Martin is number 4.
Right, this is ridiculous.
On a roll now. There you go.
Yeah, but if them two are so high, why is Stacey not so high?
Because again, Stacey's been off for months, and to be fair, I remember at one point, Stacey wasn't, even when she was back, Stacey wasn't appearing a huge amount. So, Go on, you got 4 left. We'll just throw the life system.
I'll have one more go.
Yeah, go on.
I'll tell you what, I'll do all 4 at once and you can tell me which ones are right and which ones are wrong. Okay. I'm going to say Kathy Bill because I think she's going to be a surprising one. I'm going to say Denise Fox. I'm going to say Lucas. I don't know what his surname is. Lucas Godman. And I'm going to say... and I'm going to say Chelsea as well. No, I'm not. I'm going to say Isaac.
So are those your 4 final answers?
Yeah, so Denise, Kathy, Isaac,
Isaac and... Chelsea. No,
Lucas.
Denise and Lucas. All 4 untenable. I will reveal. You're in the vortex now. You're done. You're done.
I'm in a black hole.
You are.
Wow.
So number 1 on the list is Linda.
See, I didn't think the Carters have been in it a lot because they weren't.
According to the list, it is according to Walford Web.
See, I didn't think the Carters would have been obvious, but I thought in January and February time they weren't in it that much.
Well, no, because Mick was doing the whole Katie story in January, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So that story that you liked as well. Number 8, you got from 3 to 7. Number 8 was Gray, which makes sense, really, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, then if Gray's in it, then Whitney I would have thought would have been.
Whitney was on it. You got Whitney.
Well, then Kush. Well, then Kush wasn't in it.
No, Kush, isn't. And then finally, the only one that I would say was really surprising at number 10 was Kim.
I was going to say Kim.
So there you go. Oh, Alex. So yeah, that's your list, and that's according to Walford Web. So thank you very much for that. And that was an absolutely dire episode of Tenable.
Okay, so back to the stories of the week. We are now going to discuss the gossip that is Mila, Iqra, Kim, and Kathy's sprinkled in for a little bit good measure as well. Because Mila's parents have found her, and her brother has had a conversation with her, and her mum wants to meet her, and she's been chucked out of her house because her flatmate's now coupled up, and she's living with Kathy now. I love that she's moved in with Kathy. Can I just make that the first point? I know. I think it makes sense in a weird way too, because I kind of got that when Iqra offered a room in her 4-bed mansion that she lives on her own, rattling around like an old woman, and Mila was like,
"No, absolutely not. That would be inappropriate."
And it's a bit soon, so I kind of got it. And when Kathy kind of piped up and said, "Nah, come join us. There's a spare bed. Ian's gone." I thought, actually, I like that. That's a good idea. Have them together. And Kathy's been dishing out all kinds of good advice this week as well. It's nice to have Kathy out there.
That she is. Well, it's nice to have Kathy at work, because Kathy went through a stage where she wasn't at any of her jobs. The Albert, it was easy to forget that she owned the place because she was never there. And recently, she's been there most days, like sorting out the coffee machine, sorting shifts out, all of that sort of thing. So she seems to have taken Mila under her wing. There was a great scene, I thought, when she first offered her a room. And Mila goes and says, "Come have some shepherd's pie." And Mila's like, "Well, I'm a vegan." And Kathy's like, "Oh, well, forget the room. That's not going to work." And I was like, "Quite right, Kathy. Quite right."
Oh yes, I support. I forget that you don't support the vegan diet.
I support the vegan diet, just yours I don't support.
Yeah, I know. I did think when Kathy said, "Oh, it's okay, I'll just give you a plate of vegetables." I did think that when I had this scene in my mind where Kathy just scooped off the potato off the top of the cottage pie and just slapped it on the plate and said, "Here you go.
Yeah,
eat it. That's your dinner." I mean, Kathy again
teach you not to eat properly, won't it?
Yeah, Kathy showing her liberal lifestyle. Kathy, she's more than welcomes the gays. She likes vegans. She likes gay vegans. You know, Kathy's very progressive. I like Kathy very much.
Gay vegans, yeah. Oh, she's just the best. As Mila's mum says, she is a modern, glamorous lady, which is absolutely right.
Summed up beautifully by Mila's mum. Yeah. Mila's mum wants to marry off her. What is Mila's mum's name anyway? Or we're just going to call her Mila's mum from this point on?
Mrs. Mila.
Okay. Mrs. Mila wants to marry off Mila against Mila's will. And it's really strange. So we know that her parents tried to convert her. So is this like the next step, basically trying to get her married off to a man to kind of convince her that, no, you're not gay, you are straight after all?
I actually really want them to I was hoping that they were going to show, because they've been talking about conversion therapy and all of that sort of thing, and I was really hoping that they're going to actually show, maybe Mila goes through sort of a journey of, maybe self-hatred and a little bit of that, and then we actually look at conversion therapy as an actual thing, because as we discussed a couple of weeks ago, it is still legal in the UK, bizarrely. So I would have quite liked to have seen them really explore that. I don't think they are going to, because it seems that Mila's got another secret that we're not aware of yet, doesn't it?
Ah, yes, I forgot about that. Yes, because she says to her mum, as her mum's leaving through the door, haven't I done enough for this family? And it was like, whoa.
Yeah. She says it whispered, so it's clearly like a secret, another layer to Mila that we're not aware of yet. And it seemed to instantly shut Mila's mum up as well, didn't it?
As if, to say, you leave me alone now, because there's nothing more you can do to me or ask me to do to help you. What is it? What do you think it is?
What could that be? I don't know. I've genuinely got no idea whatsoever, which is nice. I can't think what it would be, because it kind of came out of left field as well. It seemed that Mila was just on the run from her family and all the conversion therapy and everything. So what could it be? It can't be anything to do with pregnancy or anything like that.
No, I mean, that makes me think also that might have been the reason why Mila was on the run. That the thing that she has already done is the reason why she ran away. And that, yes, obviously there was her family kind of going against her for being gay and the conversion therapy and so forth. But I can't help but think that's only a few parts of why she's gone. The reason she ran away was this secret now. And as you say, it's actually been. I'm really enjoying the Mila and Iqra story. Actually,
so am I.
A lot.
Even though. So am I. I really am enjoying it. And even though this is a storyline for Iqra, she's still barely featured.
Barely in it, yeah.
Barely in it at all. She'll have like a couple of lines per episode where she'll just get turned down by Mila for something and storm out, and that's Iqra's involvement done. But Kathy's having more involvement in this.
I kind of understood, though, why Mila wouldn't invite Iqra to be there when her mum visited, because in a way she doesn't really want to rub it in her mum's face. Yes, she knows I'm gay, but I don't really want her to see my girlfriend, because that's almost a step too far for her mum to accept.
I mean, to be fair, I got the impression that when she walked into Kathy's house, she took one look at Kathy and go, "Is this your girlfriend?"
Yeah, I thought that as well.
Absolutely understandable. Totally understandable, because Kathy looks 18.
oh, absolutely. Of course, her youth is always on her side. But no, I thought that Kathy was going to be introduced as and this is my girlfriend, Kathy, with Kathy's like shocked expression.
But she's so much younger than you, Mila.
She is but a fetus in comparison.
Can you not get someone your own age, woman, for Christ's sake?
I mean, I do love that Iqra is supporting Mila, and I hope, as you say, it is. You say it's Iqra's story, but I think it's both their story. This is their story to take.
Yeah, it is. Iqra will get more involved, I'm sure. It's just amused me that Iqra has had months and months and months of sort of barely really being. She's had the odd sort of episode where she's quite prominent, but on the whole, Iqra's been quite a quiet character in the grand scheme of things, and it just amuses me that even now, when she seems to actually have a story, she's still not in it that much.
I know.
So I'm hoping, because she's a great actress as well. I really like Iqra. She's an intriguing character, so I want us to explore her a bit more. And so hopefully, once Iqra gets a bit more involved in this, we'll see a lot more of Iqra, because she deserves it. She's a good character.
They need to move more people into Iqra's house. Like I say, she lives in this giant house on her own.
It's a huge house that she's got nobody living with
and
whatsoever.
no one's
just
there.
Old pictures of Ash just scratched out on the wall.
deleted from her laptop. Kim's business is still happening.
Still going.
They're really
this is still
pulling
happening.
it along, aren't they? I mean, this is probably the longest story they've had in 2021.
Foxcatcher has had more impact than Chantel's death. Do you know what I mean? What the hell is going on?
I know.
The story of 2021.
But she's really hanging around Mila and Iqra as like the golden children, the golden gooses that are making her company flourish.
Well, she's like, literally, if I can get Iqra a storyline, I can connect any of you. This is my reference.
Do you want Kim to be doing something else now? I mean, I wouldn't mind Kim being more involved with Denise and a bit more.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know what you mean. I don't necessarily mind this story because I think it's basically another one of Kim's get-rich-quick schemes where she's like, because Kim likes to be involved, she likes to be the face of something, doesn't she? That's essentially what we're doing with this with Kim, and I don't necessarily mind it. It's not going to be a thing that lasts forever, even though it has gone on for far longer than I thought it was going to. That I think was far longer than anybody thought was possible. But it's fine. It doesn't really bother me. And to be fair, if you're going to start a business, or try and start a business, realistically, you're going to try and keep on it for a few months before you give up on it. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't really bother me that much. It's quite mad, but it doesn't. But it's Kim, so that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine that she's got a business. It's just the fact that her storyline is her business. You know what I mean? It's the same with Keegan. If you think about it, Keegan's storyline is his sandwich business,
sandwiches.
and it's weird because but there's still an underlying story of the young couple relationship between Keegan and Tiff, which kind of keeps. So it makes sense that their business having to survive is so important to them. Well, with Kim, there must be, for me, her business surviving seems really important to her as well. But why? There was inklings a few weeks ago when she was talking to Sharon saying, this is a fresh start. This is for us to start again. Kind of encouraging Sharon to then buy the gym and leave the Vic. What is Kim leaving? What has Kim left Scotland for? I kind of would think there's something. Maybe Kim
doesn't like its politics.
Yeah, maybe Kim liked leaving the EU. But but is it maybe a relationship? Maybe a relationship she had in Scotland that kind of went a bit bad. You know, is that the reason why she is someone going to suddenly be introduced into the soap and Kim's going to be like, uh-oh.
It's quite amazing that we haven't seen either of Kim's children for so long. Pearl, Mika, where are they?
I don't know. Especially, they're quite grown up now, so they could have a bit of time. And they've got a cousin in the form of Ray.
Raymond. Yeah, exactly. So it's toddlers are cute. Come on, EastEnders. Is it a COVID thing at the minute?
No, I'd imagine it might be quite tricky to get kids on the set. Yeah. No, actually, that's a good point. That might be why.
But as soon as we're allowed, let's see Pearl again at the very least, because Pearl was adorable.
Let's have loads of children on screen at once.
Creche. That'll be Sharon's next business, a creche.
Yeah. Or a children's party planning business.
Yes.
Again, Kim could do that easily. She'd be well onto that.
Easily.
Talking of characters that have gone missing have come back, Chelsea was back this week as well. Standing in the
really
doorway.
Randomly.
Yeah, I know.
She did literally all she did. She just stuck her head out, gave Kim a bit of abuse, and then disappeared again. It was like, what are you doing here?
That's Chelsea's new role, as we predicted, as a background character. So
there you go. What did I say?
It is what it is, Rob.
It was so random. She just appeared in one scene and then wasn't in it for the rest of the week. It was so random.
But there is hope then. At least the actors.
It's like
will come back.
You know when you're a bit younger, college or whatever, you think, I need some money. You might pop into your place of work. I used to do this. I used to work at Home Bargains. Oh, do you need me to work tonight? I'll do a shift for you tonight. It's like she's walked onto the set and go, do you need a scene? I'll do a scene. It's quite happy. And like, yeah, you can go in this one if you like. Cheers. It's like literally all she did. She poked her head out the door in the middle of Kim's scene, shouted a bit, and then went back inside again. Then we didn't see her again for the rest of the week. It's like, what? Yeah, overall, it'll be interesting to see where this Mila story goes next. I want to know what her secret is. And I want to know more about the character because I like her. I like her a lot, actually. Me too. So it's nice to see a new character that's starting. She's slowly been introduced to the square and now she's actually getting a bit more screen time. She might even get her first duff soon. So let's see.
We'll see. Right, final story then this week, and it's the wedding plans of the big Ballum Bash. It's happening.
It's coming.
Oh, it's happening.
It's coming.
Yeah.
What's that coming over the hill? Is it the Ballum week? Is it the Ballum week?
It most certainly is. So, Callum's had a few phone calls this week, basically where everything's been cancelled and going wrong for him. Yeah. But thanks to Ben, who now works in the Archers, which I thought was a, a leap and a half. I don't think ever since he's been back on EastEnders as the current incarnation of Ben, I don't think he's ever once legitimately at the Archers. And now he's fixing cars again. I can't remember him doing it.
It didn't surprise me when I saw it. But
really?
I don't know. No, I'm sure he must have done.
Dodgy Ben, who's constantly doing underhand deals and escapades. I'm not going to call them heists anymore. Escapades.
Escapades. Is that what we've got to look forward to in future with Escapade Week?
I refuse to use the term heist.
Shenanigan month.
Escapades and shenanigans. No longer will this show use the term heist. In fact, I'm making it law. From this moment onward, if I had a gavel, I'm whacking it on the side. No more heist. That's the last time we're saying it. So
shenanigans.
His shenanigans and escapades have been pretty much his story, hasn't it? And but now he's working back at the Archers because he's got to earn a little bit of crust in order to pay for the wedding, which they're now having at a registry office. And Callum needs to write his vows, and he's having a few troubles writing his vows, especially where Whitney seems to be putting, pun very much intended, a spanner in the works with telling him that you can't trust a Mitchell. And I can't believe that you're trusting them and writing vows saying that you will be honest with each other and give each other your heart. And Whitney's like, nah, that's not going to happen. They're all liars, those Mitchells.
I did actually quite like the little speech that Whitney gave Callum at the end. There was a really nice line in there where she turned around to Callum and went, come on, Callum, you've been here before. If you don't want to marry someone, which I thought was actually quite a nice little throwback to Whitney's wedding.
Yes.
I thought that was quite a nice little subtle line thrown in. Yeah, so basically Callum spends this week sort of prepping himself up, writing his vows. 2 conversations. That's all it takes. 2 conversations. One with Vinny and one with Whitney. So by the end of the week, Callum's like, is this such a good idea? I mean, Vinny's logic literally is he decides to rehearse his vows in front of Vinny. He says one line of his vows and Vinny's like, do you think this is a good idea, mate? You sure you want to get married?
Because it was the promise thing, wasn't it? He said he's going to promise he's going to be honest.
Honesty.
And Vinny's like, when have you ever been honest with each other?
Yeah. When has honesty ever been an integral part of your relationship, Callum? Which makes... You can't argue with him, to be fair. It was hilarious logic, but it was totally true logic as well.
But are we led to
Whitney turns around and goes...
Ben and Callum are being honest with each other from now on, and they're not going to keep a secret from each other.
No.
But that's what their whole story is now, isn't it? That's what they're...
Hashtag no more secrets.
Well... Yeah, but that's we're led to believe because the last time Vinny had their encounter with Ben and Callum was when he had the gold bars, which again a throwaway line this week. I remember when we sold the gold bars now, so it's done. So that was the end of that. Then
it's done. That's sorted that out.
Yeah. And it's when Vinny was being a little bit cocksure, and Callum kind of looked at Ben, and Ben looked at Callum, and they both went, "That's Vinny." And
that's Vinny.
Yeah, and in a police uniform, Callum openly allowed them to steal gold bars from a crook.
That's Callum.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So I in a way, I think they are being honest with each other, but it's the fact that they're being honest by the crimes that they're now committing. Being a police officer.
To be honest, if we're talking about the lies that have gone on in this relationship so far, Callum's biggest lie was that he was genuinely spent about 4 months trying to get Phil arrested and sent to prison for the rest of his life. So that's one thing, with the fabulous D.I. Gaffney. And Ben I don't think Ben's been that honest with Callum since the day they met, to be fair.
No.
Have they really? Apart from, emotionally, yes, they're emotionally honest with each other, Ballon fans, I know that. But in terms of, Ben's dealings or that sort of thing, he never tells Callum about anything that he's doing. No. Ever. Apart from the fact that now and again we'll get a scene where Callum is laughing with the Mitchells in the pub and going, we always call him Crazy Stan and all that sort of thing. So it's all mad. But no, it's going to be, it's not going to be long before Ben is lying to Callum about, some deal or something. Callum is still a policeman somehow. So there's going to be a story at some point.
Well, can we can I quickly put into reverse gear for a second and go back on something you just said? Because you mentioned, because you said about Phil being bugged by Callum. That's still not come out yet. Do you think? Well, do you think it's
done.
very much time for that to come out? Do you think,
it's still there?
Well, no. Do you think it's going to come out in the next couple of weeks? Do you think this could endanger the Ballum wedding?
No, because
you don't.
Because Phil found the bug. No, I don't think so. Because Phil found the bug, didn't he?
Yeah, but he doesn't know Callum.
Does he though? I can't remember.
Well, he knows that Callum. He knows that Callum perhaps had something to do with it, but he doesn't know the reason why Callum had something to do with it, and that was basically to get Phil arrested so that Ben would be safe. Because he was doing it for Ben. Don't forget, he was doing it all for Ben.
Always.
And I just don't know, because the fact this week that Gray kept saying to Whitney, I know you're angry at the Mitchells at the moment, but we're trying to get evidence. We're trying to get enough evidence to get Phil arrested and put in prison, but that takes time. And I can't help but think that was almost...
It's taken 30 years.
Well, yeah, but don't you think that was almost like a kind of an in for the writers to kind of say, and Phil's now going to start discovering that people are trying to find information about him, and at some point there's going to be a route that guides him down why Callum was trying to find information about him.
My instinct is that story is completely and utterly done and dusted. To be fair,
you reckon? I don't. I think
totally.
I think it's coming back out in the woodwork at some point.
Okay, I live to be surprised. I personally think that story is completely utterly done, but I'm quite happy for D.I. Gaffney to turn up at the wedding and go, yes, I do object. I would love that. I would absolutely love that.
Well, then Stuart would jump out and beat him up and put him in a coffin and say, no.
Yep.
No, Gaffney.
Coffin, and then in the back of the car, take him to a warehouse, tie him up, and we'll have a big old Ballum shenanigan week.
Thank you for using the correct term. I appreciate that, actually.
Pleasure.
I really do. I feel like there's more to say about Ballum, but there's not really. It's just the same old old stuff.
Trust me, we've got plenty of time to talk about Ballum in the coming weeks. Ballum, the Ballum podcast is coming soon.
Ballum cast.
So happening.
Basically, the story is carrying on that Whitney is not very happy, and she's really upset that they are so happy. And her happiness has been taken away from her. I think that's essentially what it all boils down to, doesn't it? Whitney's had her happiness taken away from her, but Ben and Callum don't seem to care. And Callum made out that he was still her, friend, despite everything that Ben has done to her, taking away her husband when she was meant to get married to him, taking away her husband when they were meant to be running away. So Ben's taken away quite a lot from Whitney, and I can understandably see why Whitney's upset.
You can totally understand why Whitney would absolutely hate Ben. I'm surprised it's taken this for Whitney to want him dead.
To crack. This is cracked, Whitney. Yeah. This is it. Yeah.
I mean, she's sharpening those talons.
I know, I can't wait.
Whitney, I want Whitney to do that again. That iconic image I remember of her tackling some dealer or something who was after Tiff to the ground and just holding her talons like Freddy Krueger over his face. I want that back because Whitney's nails are amazing. So that was the week in Walford this week. Like I said, I actually really enjoyed this week. I thought it was a much stronger week than last week. But did you enjoy it? Did you like this week?
Yeah, it was fine. It was very kind of filling in some of the gaps, setting up some stories. There was some good proper cliffhangers this week.
But we will now see what you lovely people had to say about this week in I Ain't Want to Gossip.
You know me, I ain't want to gossip.
Yes, so it's that time of the show where we read out your comments that you send to us on our social media and on YouTube comments. All the details will be at the end of the show. We're going to start with a comment from Rob.
Sean Jeremy Snowden on Facebook says, to be fair, the wedding storyline has been overshadowed a bit with other storylines. God forbid. Maybe it needs free air. Maybe it would be better if #Ballum just went away and eloped. I could deal with that. That's fine.
I mean, obviously, it is the big story. I'm quickly guiding it to a safer direction. It is the biggest. It is the big story. It's leading up to. So I think for the next couple of weeks, we might as well just kind of sit back and take the ride for what it is.
Strap in for the ride. Take the Ballum ride. To be fair, no, Sean, I do agree with you in the sense that it does seem to have just suddenly reared its head again, doesn't it? Like it's like we didn't talk about the wedding for ages, and all of a sudden we're 2 weeks away from it, or however long it may be. So I do get what he means. It seems to have come out of nowhere a little bit and been overshadowed with other stuff that's been going on. But to be fair, we had a murder last week. And and that didn't get and that barely got mentioned this week. So
no, it was mentioned in as a kind of like as a second thought when they did the Whitney story on Friday. Yeah, exactly, in passing with Whitney on Friday. I'm going to read a comment from YouTube from last week's podcast. Someone commented.
Ooh. Thank you so much, by the way, to the reaction to last week's episode. It was like one of our biggest rating episodes ever, so thank you very much. And welcome to new listeners who might be listening and thought, these guys know their stuff. You're wrong, but thank you for joining us.
You fools. Wait till you've listened to a few more podcasts, then you'll know better.
Got you now.
Really good reaction last week's episode, and we've had a lot of new people getting in touch and saying they've just found us. So welcome on board. Welcome to the family.
Hiya.
Yeah, hello.
Hiya.
One of them might be HRH Michael, who said all these amazing characters are being killed off and it eliminates any possibility of bringing them back. It just feels like such a shame. Yes. It's the fact that they seem to just be, without any kind of regard of what the aftermath might be, just getting rid of them. And, you know, characters that could have easily been kept. If we're going to go as far back to the anniversary episode of Dennis, and they kept banging on, like, you know, the after effect of this is going to be so huge and it's going to be worth killing off, you know, this legacy character. Was it worth it in the end when we had the storyline of Ian and Sharon poisoning Ian over his death, even though it's openly been said now that it wasn't Ian's fault? The actor who plays Ian Bill said on radio this week that it wasn't his fault, it was Phil's fault. You know, so even the actors are acknowledging it. So it does feel like that killing off all these characters, legacy characters or whatnot, it just feels like a bit of a silly mistake to make. Yeah.
I mean, our opinions differ on Dennis, don't they? Because I was kind of like, meh. To be honest, I wasn't, but you know, other people have pointed out, to be fair, that he was a legacy character. You know, Sharon's child. So it was a shame. It was a shame to kill him off. To me, Dennis himself wasn't that interesting. You know, he just seemed to be like a stroppy little teenager with not a huge amount else about him. But I get that people are annoyed because of more of who he is rather than what he was about.
But that's it. He could have been, couldn't he? He could have been an interesting character. For an example, like they brought Zack in now. Would they have brought Zack in as a character if they hadn't killed off Dennis? That's what I'm thinking.
Who knows?
Because I would have thought Zack reminds me of almost what they could have made Dennis to be. And it just makes me think that that's the mistake is now played off in front of us, where they've introduced a character to be Sharon's, you know, a character that can play off with Sharon. If they hadn't killed Dennis off, then they wouldn't need to do that. They could have kept Dennis, recast him, I don't know, but they could have kept Dennis, and then they could have had Dennis's character as the guy who kind of is a bit cheeky, a little bit naughty. I don't know. But I do think that they seem to just kind of throw the death card out a little bit too quickly.
Death is a bit of an easy option at the minute.
It is, when it shouldn't be.
The shock value, isn't it?
It shouldn't be an easy option. It should be a shocking option. Shocking.
Quite right.
Rob's forgotten how to end the show, so I'm going to do it for him.
I can't find the documents. I normally read it. I can't remember my lines. Go on, crack on, Alex.
So you can get in touch with us on Facebook. We have a Facebook group. Just search Walford Weekly Podcast. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Walford Weekly. You can also email us. You can email Rob at robwalfordweekly@gmail.com
or alexwalfordweekly@gmail.com. If you're listening to us on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell for the notifications for our spoiler videos, and
comment below. Don't forget to comment below.
Please comment below.
Don't forget to like and follow us, because it means a lot, and also it gets us right up there for more people to find us. And we'd like people knowing that we're out there, so do that. It's fun.
I like people knowing we exist.
Yeah, why not?
You can listen to us on Spotify, Podbean, or any of your favourite podcast sites.
This is professional. This is professional. This is why new people are listening to our show. This is just.
Aren't you pleased you found us?
This patchwork of us ending the show is just the most delightful thing to listen to, I'm sure.
Oh, dear.
If you want to carry on listening to us, we are back next week. Thank you for joining us this week.
Be there or be Albert Square.
Yes.
See you next week. Bye.